resolution on Southern Rhodesia adopted by the Accra Summit. In attempting to put into action this resolution, the Organization of African Unity member states should enlist support from friendly powers. In this hour of trial for the continent of Africa, you hear that? In this hour of trial for the continent of Africa. What do you mean in this hour of trial for the continent of Africa? What are we fighting for, His Majesty is telling you? We're fighting for Africa. All Africa. And also greater humanity. You know what I mean? Yes, but all Africa, first and foremost. In this hour of trial for the continent of Africa, all Africans should sink their minor differences and unite their efforts to rescue Zimbabwe brethren whose rights and liberty and freedom have been trampled upon by a white settler minority racist regime which has illegally seized power in defiance of world public opinion and in violation of basic principles of international law. Where's Majesty saying there? Brothers and sisters, let's put down our differences and let us unite and rise up and wipe him out. This illegal guy, this little colonialist guy, this little oppressor. Let us put down our differences, just like in the Battle of Adwa. When we as Ethiopians, we had our various little differences and our little disputes and thing. But when the white boy came through to try to come take over our thing, we put down our differences and go slew him with no qualms, with no ifing nor button. You see? No ifing or button or nothing, because we know our liberation, our very survival is at hand. We couldn't even maintain and keep up our little petty differences. If we let him come in, even our little petty differences will be gone, because he'll take over everything. So His Majesty, within the same strength and the same idea, within the same principles of the Christ, is calling for the brothers and sisters, you see, to sink their minor differences. Sink them. Don't keep it floating. Sink it. And unite our efforts to rescue their Zimbabwe brethren. Let's put down all our, and go free our brothers. What we dealing with, not little petty things, it ain't nothing. It's not even important. Our brothers and sisters in bondage. Let us bond and unite and go help free them. That's what His Majesty is saying. Clearly. There's no room for mistranslation there. It ain't no room for interpretation there. It's straight. Whose rights, liberty, and freedom have been trampled upon by a white settler minority racist regime. Doesn't that sound like colonialist? That sound like colonialism. You see? A lot of things where we find ourselves as people within this world right now is trust is coming off of things based off of colonialism, which you may call it racism. You see? Imperialism. But no matter what name you put on it, it's still going to boil down to a white face. Even though the black man may want to adopt that white face and carry on those antics as well. You see? We see that too. Because you can't catch the black man, you got to catch a black man to get to catch the black man. Who are you going to send? Look at all of those who came before. Malcolm, Martin, Marley, all of the 3Ms. Every other one. Look at all the one that took them down. Blackface. Maybe they were sent by somebody else, but they had blackface. Your own, Marcus Garvey told you, your own people will sell you out and be your worst enemy. You see? So now we know that the colonialists, and we know that the imperialists had collaborators. And all those that collaborated, what do you think happened to them? In our quest for liberation, in our quest for freedom, what happened to the collaborators? The middle of the road ones, the wishy-washy ones. What happened to them? They gone with the oppressor. Wiped out with the oppressor. Hallelujah. Sink the minor differences and unite our efforts and rescue Zimbabwe brethren whose rights, liberty, and freedom have been trampled upon by settler white minority racist regime which has illegally seized power in defiance of world public opinion. That means they don't care. They spit in the face of the whole world. Do it and say what? What you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? And they know nobody going to do nothing about it because there is a white united front. For all who don't understand what I mean when I say the white united front, there is a colonialist, imperialist united front. There's a racist united front. In order for racism and imperialism and colonialism to maintain itself within any form of governmental, you legislate in that. You have to legislate it because that's what racism is. You see, is prejudice with power. Prejudice with power. When I say prejudice with power, I don't like you because you are whatever, whatever. So I got the power to legislate laws and to create conditions, societal conditions, to keep you where I want you to be. You see? So we as the victim of or the object of, we could never be that. Black people could never be racist. It's impossible. We have no power to enforce no laws, to pass no legislation. All we got is our opinions and our views and our ideas. You see? With this reverse racist argument. What you going to call His Majesty a racist too? Particularly when it relates to freedom and independence of our brothers and sisters. Particularly, it is imperative that the Zimbabwe Nationalist Party should put away their petty differences and forthwith form a united front in the face of their national adversity. Here is His Majesty advocating a united African front. A united African front to stand up and face the oppressor. Not to embrace the oppressor. Not to hug him up, kiss him up, pet him up. They must be, here His Majesty say, they must be prepared to fight to the death for the freedom and independence of their homeland. Fight what? To the death? His Majesty say, you must be prepared to fight to the death for the freedom and the independence of the homeland. Against who? Fight to the death against who? Against who? The colonialists? Because that's what we